everyone. We are live coming to you from inside of Bat City Comic Professionals in Bradenton, Florida to talk to you about this week's awesome, amazing indie and small press new releases. As always, I'm your host, Shannon, aka Small Press Shann, here to get you excited about a bunch of books that you're definitely going to want to read and wind down your weekend. And in order to do just that, we always have to start out with winding down our weekend. So this week, what are we drinking? We are drinking a wine that I definitely am going to butcher the name of. I am going to apologize in advance. I know the wine itself is Chateau Cahors and it's a Malbec, but the brand name of that is where I'm going to struggle. It is Chateau Labarrade. We're going to go with that. Labarrade, one of those. It sounds beautiful. It is supposed to be full of like big balanced taste, but also kind of bold, peppery notes. And I'm really excited because it says there's mulberry in it. And I am not sure I could tell you what a mulberry tastes like, but I'm going to find out what it tastes like in this wine. So we're going to go ahead and take a drink. None of those are what I thought that was going to taste like. None of the flavors that just hit me. Yeah, I'm like, is that a mulberry? Is that a mulberry? Do you know what mulberries taste like? No?
No, it tastes like just a big, bold, jammy red.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It definitely has. I mean, I think you can taste that it's got that, like, peppery kick to it for sure.
That's going to open up.
Yeah, that's going to have a lot. That's going to be like that Mo one we had that had like a million flavors in it. Because this already has like a lot of different things coming at one time. We did open it a little bit like and leave it to air out a little bit today. But this one is definitely going to have a lot of flavors in it. And it's already good. So I want to know what they're all going to taste like together. Because you're kind of just getting like little hints of this flavor and that flavor. And it's like big flavor, big flavor, big flavor. But it's going to balance into something really great. So I can't wait to see what that is. We're going to be drinking this throughout the night. If you're hanging out with us, let us know that you're here. We want to hang out with you. We want to talk about all the books you love this week. So drop them in the comments, the things that you read this week that you were excited about, the things that you didn't get to read that you're looking forward to, things coming up soon. It'll be great. And as always, we got to recap what we did this week. And I'm trying to think because I feel like it was all a giant blur. But I'm like, what was this week? Oh yeah, we had comic creation workshops yesterday, which was really great. Santiago taught the morning workshop, which was really cool. Yesterday was also the kickoff of Slam Academy. And that is our summer learning it is our summer writing, art, and business intensive for kids and teens about how to become comic creators, how to become better writers, how to become better artists. It is a lot of fun. We did it last year. We're doing it this year. There's a lot of big plans in the works for that program, and it stands for Story, Lettering, Art, and Marketing. So it is just a great thing. It is completely and totally free for you to come out and participate in that. It's not so much about ages, it's more about skill level and attention span, because it is going to be more like taking a college course in either writing or the different pieces of art. You can do it a la carte, or you can do it, you can do every class this summer. It's going to be every Saturday at 3:30, so check our websites to find out the order, or Facebook to see what that goes in. But the reason we are able to provide those classes for free and all of the big plans that are coming your way from that is actually thanks to a very incredible, generous donation from the Bradenton Kiwanis. This week we were honored with a $25,000 grant to help make that program even more extraordinary, and we're so excited to be able to offer that program over this year and to continue to grow it and see what's going to happen. There are a lot of big announcements coming your way about Slam Academy, but if you have a teenager who is thinking that they want to go into art or writing, or if you have a young kid who you're like, they're really good and they're really into it, and I think they should try something a little more fruitful for them, bring them out to Slam Academy on a Saturday. This coming up Saturday is actually going to be figure drawing. So you're going to learn all the basics of drawing like a person and how to actually put it together from our art teacher, Adrian, who you adults may know from the creator of our Bat City Mad Cave exclusive Dick Tracy cover, as well as the person who created our newest Bat City t-shirt. So Adrian is our advanced art teacher. He's fantastic. You're definitely going to want to learn some amazing skills from him. So bring those kids and teens out for that this Saturday coming up at 3:30. And speaking of Adrian, Adrian will be watching the store all week. So if you are coming out to Bat City this week, Matt and Shannon, me and Matt, we will not be here. We will be off in London helping MCM Comic-Con talk to stores about all the retailer programming, about cool ways that they can do things like build kids programs and build a customer experience in their store and things like that. We're very excited. Thank you so much to MCM for inviting us out. And of course, we'll be giving you all a full recap on that. The store will be open Wednesday through Sunday, as it always is. Adrian will be here to make sure that you can get your new comics on Wednesday, or all the books that you shop for throughout the week. And then, of course, Santiago will be here with him on Saturday and Sunday, so you can come stop by and see them. They are volunteers, so be kind to them and show them your support, because we are so thankful that we can have people who will volunteer to help out. And maybe if you buy a Dick Tracy, Adrian will sign it. I did hear that he was bringing some Posca markers, so if you don't have that Dick Tracy exclusive, or if you already do and you never got Adrian to sign it, he'll be here all week, Wednesday through Sunday. So stop by and check it out. Grab a t-shirt that he drew. I'm going to take another drink of our Cahors Malbec and see what's happened with it so far. Holy cow. So many flavors.
That's a good wine.
That's a really good wine. Yeah. Was that an expensive one? Was that a good priced one, Matt?
Probably like $13.99.
$13.99. That's not bad for like how much the flavor of the wine is. Like it tastes like it's an expensive wine.
These last few have been from ABC Liquors.
ABC Liquors. Okay. Is it? Yeah.
That's a local chain here in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a lot of really good wines for a great price.
Yeah.
Is this French?
No, I don't know. I didn't think that it's a Malbec, so I thought it like would be from Argentina.
Yeah.
I can't really tell, but that's definitely not Argentina on the map. No, it is a product of France.
Aha!
It is in fact a product of France.
We love French wine.
We do love French wine. It makes sense. All right, I'm going to jump into the comics and get you going. It is not near as crazy as last week, so don't panic. But we're gonna see what came out this week and give it a go. First up is Transformers issue 20 from Image Comics, IDW, Image Comics, Skybound, and the Energon universe. Woo! Can tell that I am not prepared to be awake at this normal hour. This has been such a great series as Transformers has grown. If you haven't been reading it, Daniel Warren Johnson is kind of rebuilding the Generation 1 Transformers that you know and love. They are here on Earth. There is a battle between the Autobots and the Decepticons. It has been wild. And what's really cool about the way Daniel Warren Johnson has done this is whenever we see Transformers, they always are the ones who get to all the Energon and their spark and everything first, and always have the power to stop those Decepticons. But Daniel Warren Johnson has not given us that. He has actually given us a stronger set of Decepticons who are ready to just really destroy Earth and destroy the Autobots. And the Autobots are actually really war-torn in this. Optimus is really struggling with a lot of PTSD and is kind of making some really bad decisions for both the Autobots and the humans. And in this issue, we see him have to come to terms with his behavior and the fact that he's impacting so many people so many negative ways, and that he's let some of the humans get kidnapped and killed and things like that, and that he's not really the leader he wants to be. Meanwhile, speaking of leaders, we've had the return of Megatron, and he is making sure that the Decepticons know that he will rule with an iron fist, and that he will do it very, very violently, and that you do not cross Megatron. And so we are going to see how this really is going to come into a big battle. I'm thinking there's going to be a point where some Decepticons really like change directions and just like flip flop on Megatron, because he is not proving to be somebody that you would want to serve under. But I definitely feel like there's a lot more humanistic element to the way Daniel Warren Johnson has been writing these Transformers, especially in these later issues, and it's really making it feel like you're watching a movie that has some very emotional gains to it while you read it. We've got World Tree issue 14 from Image. This has been a slow rollout for James Tynion. This series has probably been going on for about 2 years now, and we're only hitting issue 14. But every time it comes back, it just kind of comes back with a bang. And in this issue, we fast forward into the future, and we see that the internet has destroyed everything through this dark underweb that they've kind of been leading us to this whole series. Basically, if you don't know, that the premise of this book is that there is a dark underside of the internet, and if you are exposed to it, you kind of become a sadistic, terrible person who will kill everybody. And there is this one woman who is kind of leading the charge of hoping that people will become the danger that she's finding on the internet. Over the last few issues, we've learned her backstory and how she got to be the way she is. And then we kind of just fast forwarded into the future, and we see some of the people who were our opposition and kind of our only hope. We're learning in this what they've been up to and where they landed and what would happen in the future if there was no internet, and how the world would collapse and also how it would rebuild. And there's actually a great conversation in here between two characters about how the internet was meant to be this source of good knowledge and this source of history and this source of being able to entertain and educate and explore. And maybe if we could find a way to actually use the internet for that instead of harming people, the world could be a great place. And obviously in this book they didn't do that, and so we're going to see if they find a way to come back to a better world. Geiger issue 14 from Image and the Ghost Machine universe and imprint. This is Jeff Johns kind of giving us this big, massive superhero world in a whole new way. This is all about a man named Tariq Geiger who after a nuclear bomb is dropped on his home, and he becomes the radioactive man and has been living in this post-apocalyptic world for years now, just trying to find a solution to the problem of being radioactive, but also maybe see if there's something else out there for him. And he's heard rumors for years now that there was somebody else who was radioactive and that they could help him put it all, like get a control on his power. And he has finally found that person, and it is a woman, the radioactive woman. Her name is Ashley. She is awesome. Or is she? Because we have been told that she was the hero that could save him, that could help him learn how to control his powers. And yet there is a lot of mysterious stuff going on with Ashley, and we learn a lot of what that is in this issue, and that she may have some ulterior motives. Whether or not those are good or bad in the long run, and the understanding that she has versus what Tariq has of her, is really going to come into a big play. We also see some return of Junkyard Joe in the last few issues, and some very dangerous things happening for him as this comes to a point where the unnamed universe of Jeff Johns' world is actually going to come together in some big ways. Phantom Road, issue 12, also from Image. It's very big Image week. This is also one of those that's been going for quite a while now, and we're starting to see the big moments in it. This is Jeff Lemire telling us a new kind of weird horror story, very like almost Twin Peaks-esque, in that it's like there's this weird set of fast food restaurants, and they lead possibly to a completely different world, and within that world there is murder and mayhem and things of that nature going on, but you don't really know who's responsible, and all it kind of shows on our side of the world is that there is murder going on. And so we've had these two FBI agents, one who's been on this case for years and one who's just recently been assigned to it, who are trying to figure out exactly what is going on, what is the mystery of this, and is this all like a big corporate conspiracy that maybe they need to take down the guy who owns all of these little fast food restaurants slash they're like kind of like when you put a Hardee's or a Carl's Jr. in a gas station, or like a Flying J. Like they're kind of one of those like crossover restaurant / pit stop kind of places. But there's some big things happening in this issue, and we're kind of starting to really see a little bit about what is happening on this mysterious road on the other side coming to life. Witchblade issue 11, also from Image Comics, and the Top Cow imprint. This is a retelling of the Witchblade world that we saw come to life in the 90s, starring the same characters. This is still Officer Sarah, who is like one of the only cops on the beat who is not corrupt and is trying to figure out what happened to her father, who's responsible for all of the things that went down with him and all of the dangers of the police force and corruption that has come through this police force. And so she, in her process of doing that, gets bonded with an item called the Witchblade, which gives her this essentially like supreme power above all of these people to kind of see darkness in the world and be able to fight it. And she has been doing just that, and she's found herself up against possibly the very people responsible for the damage that happened to her father. And they have her cornered now because her partner is in danger and they have kidnapped him. And so they are sending Sarah to the other side, to these like mysterious people, to go and find like this person and this item that they want, and kind of destroy everything that they don't. And if Sarah doesn't do it, she is going to she's going to lose her partner. And in the process of it, she is on this other side. She has to go through a test of mind, body, and spirit, and she is learning a lot about herself, but she's also learning that she may have some allies hidden in some different places if she just plays her cards correctly. So the adventure gets bigger every issue, and so if you haven't read it yet, check it out for sure. Dick Tracy is back with issue 10 from Mad Cave, and if you see this, we are going to figure out, like, it's possibly, maybe in this issue who the blank is. It does say the blank reveal. I don't know. You're going to have to find out. But Dick Tracy in this arc of the story has been trying to figure out who is the blank, his ultimate bad guy that he is constantly trying to chase down in the Dick Tracy lore. And in this story, this is a person who has mysteriously arrived and has started taking out like all of the criminals in town that they feel like Dick Tracy's kind of just let go too many times, that he hasn't gone after in the right way. And Dick has been doing his best to solve this mystery. He's been relying on friends. He's been accusing friends. He's been getting in some crazy spots that have basically made people believe that he doesn't really know what's going on. And is Dick Tracy about to cross the line into a corrupt cop was one of those questions we see ourselves asking in this issue. Meanwhile, we have to rely on the power of knowledge, which means we rely on Tess Trueheart a lot in this issue, because she is one of the only people who can always find the information that we need in this world. If you are a Dick Tracy fan, this has definitely been a great arc where we actually get to see him do a lot of investigating and working with some fan favorites along the way to do it. I Heart Skullcrusher issue 9 from Boom and their Boombox imprint, which is their teen imprint. This is very much like a very Americanized version of like the sports manga with how wild and crazy it gets. But this has been the story of a girl named Trini who lives out in the wastelands in a post-apocalyptic world where water has become currency, and she is obsessed with a game called Murder Paintball that she thinks is going to, be the secret of her life. Like, if she could just become somebody who plays this game, she can get to her hero, Skullcrusher, and she can just be the person she's always wanted to be, and not be on her own anymore. Well, that has happened at the end of the last arc. We got to see Trini actually make it to the big leagues and get to play with her hero, and now all of her team has been split apart, and in this arc they are forced to fight against each other. And in this issue, she is going up against the twins from her former team, and they have decided that they are going to do a heist to figure out how to steal water and get it to the people and to themselves. And they've never done a heist, is what we learn, and this becomes a gigantic book of hijinks that's actually absolutely fantastic. So much heart, so much humor, so much great storytelling, and I Heart Skullcrusher. Flash Gordon number 9 from Mad Cave. While we've been in this Flash Gordon universe, we have been one tracked mind. We've had one thing that Flash has wanted to do. It wasn't save the people. It wasn't destroy Ming. It wasn't anything other than to figure out what has happened to the love of his life, Dale. And so he has been hunting for her everywhere over all of the different issues and worlds and things that he could come across. And as far as he knows, he has found her as the empress of this mysterious this planet. And she has, for some reason, lost her mind and has become a bad guy. But in this issue, we actually learn that there is something secretive going on, and the Dale that is leading this planet as a terrible person is not the Dale that he knows and loves in more ways than one. And so Flash has to go on one of his Flash-style adventures to try to figure out how to save the day. But the thing about Dale is she never needs somebody to save the day. She just needs you to get out of her way so she can do it herself, which is what I love about her, and you get to see a lot of that in this issue. So jump on the Flash Gordon train. It is, you're just thrown right into it and get to just experience the fun with them. The Sickness is back with issue 7. This is from Uncivilized Books, and this is an insane story. If you have not been reading this, please take your time if you decide to jump in and really just explore this book, because there's so much to it that you have to read it slowly. It's a story of about 3 different points in time. One is 1945 with a young boy named Daniel who has been hallucinating these wild, extremely crazy things, and they are starting to come to more of a realistic shape. And then in 1955, there is a doctor who is been investigating what happened in 1945 because he now has patients who are experiencing the same symptoms and kind of losing their minds and going crazy. And so it's bouncing back. It's been bouncing back and forth between 1945 and 1955 in the last 7 issues. Or 6 issues. In this issue, we also add 1965 with a girl named Mary who is spending the day at an amusement park with her husband. And they're just having what seems to be like a very normal day, but Mary starts to have some weird feelings and some terrible experiences, and it leaves them susceptible to some of the dangers that go on. And I don't want to show you too much more because it gets wild, but if you like crazy, like Junji Ito kind of horror and that kind of like detailed art, this is definitely something you need to pick up. I'm going to take another drink of the wine because we don't have as many books, so I can.
Hooray.
Oh my gosh. There's just so much in that wine. Like, I still don't even know what it is. Like, yes, there's peppery flavors, but there's something else that's like really, like, it's, I mean, I guess it's just the fact that they blend like the black and red currant and stuff like that. I don't know what it is. Maybe mulberry is a delicious fruit that I've never, that I don't really know about. But, I mean, I know about it because it grows on a bush and we go around it. And that's about all I know about mulberry. But apparently it tastes great in wine. We've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Nation issue 6 from IDW. This has been kind of just an anthology of stories that gets us onto like the other things happening in the universe of the TMNT right now, and it's been following along. Like, one story has been about Raphael and his journey to like get back to New York. But in this one we switch and we start to follow Bebop and Rocksteady as they go to Las Vegas to try to take in a boxing match to see one of their favorites, and they do it with these like holographic wristbands that make them look like normal humans until they get real mad and they mess stuff up because it's Bebop and Rocksteady, and suddenly they are themselves again and they are in a world of mess, driving through Las Vegas in like race cars and getting in fights and doing all kinds of stuff. And it's just hijinks. It's just pure insanity between the two of them. And then the second story in here is actually a story about Lita, who is a younger character from the Sophie Campbell run on Ninja Turtles, who was a mutant and is now actually human. And in order to keep her safe, they've sent her to live with April's family on a farm, and she kind of just feels like everybody's abandoned her because she was, you know, part of the fighting team. She was part of everything, but because she's human now, they want to keep a young kid, they want to keep her safe. So the issue is all about her writing a letter to Jenica, talking about how she feels completely lost without the city of New York and completely lost without her friends, and how she feels like not being a mutant makes her incomplete. And it's her starting to just find the happiness in the world that exists, and how finding somebody for you to help oftentimes makes you feel more complete when you find that other person who needs you, and that you can be together and helping each other, even for a moment. Mine is A Long Lonesome Grave, issue 4 from Oni Press. This is the wrap-up of this story. And this is a story of ultimate revenge. This is all about a man who goes to prison for the murder of his wife, and is now back in the small town that he's from, and he is going after all of the people who actually caused him to go to prison, who are the people behind the troubles that happen with his wife, which is the family, their family specifically, who are a bunch of witches, and all of the dangers of curses that they've put on each other. And so he is determined to take them out so that they can't go after his daughter, who he believes he's left to safety while he was there, only to find out that she is now very much entangled in everything, and he is determined to save her. And his battle is coming to an end in this issue, but maybe the story is only just beginning. Since it's a revenge story, I obviously can't tell you too much about it on this issue since it's the last one, but you should definitely check it out. The Hive, issue 4 from Image Comics. This is such an interesting concept for a book because it's kind of like a crime thriller situation, but it's also kind of a sci-fi story in the littlest of ways, because basically we realize that the frequency that bees are buzzing at is causing them to be able to communicate with each other, and humans have essentially gathered this power in this world, and they have created different hives. And this woman, we are following one hive of a woman who is very much like the queen bee, very much trying to control all of Miami essentially. And a mysterious man arrives who seems to be able to deny the hive's strength and the subtext and the subtalk that they speak with. And so this faction of people who are trying to break away from the hive have recruited him to come and help them. And as they are trying to experiment with just how far his power goes, there is a very dark day and a lot of bad things that happen, and a lot of people are lost to some destruction and death. And they kind of are like, okay, this is the queen, she's coming after us. And so they start their showdown, only to find out that showdown is not necessarily the direction they want to go. And we start to see some really big changes and where this book might be heading, and who is actually responsible for all the real leadership and dangers happening in this world. I couldn't tell you, because the world's still opening up and it's getting bigger. But it definitely makes me more afraid of bees than I already am. So that's great. It's going well. Gotcha Man, Only One Earth, issue 4 from Mad Cave. This is the wrap-up of this little mini Gotcha Man story that we've been seeing. And it is all about, it kind of focuses more on Joe, who's a member of the Science Ninja team. He and Ken are supposed to be protecting this princess of a planet, essentially, and she is having a race in order to honor the people of her planet. And in that time, there is an attack from Galactor, and they all end up underground, and finding out that there is not only underground remains of a previous version of the city, but there is also underground mech and technology, which is very helpful because they would otherwise be stuck. Ken, Joe, and this princess would otherwise be stuck down underground, and so she must use it to operate it, because she is the only one from the people group, and so she must use it to break them out of this underground place that they are now stuck, but also go against Galactor in whatever way she can to protect her people. And we get to see how this battle is going to play out for them in this issue, and just what exactly does Joe learn. Hopefully something, because I always want Joe to learn, because he kind of makes me want to punch him in his face a lot of the times. So I'm glad that he's learning something in this issue. Behemoth issue 4. This is the wrap up of this as well. This is from Dark Horse. I almost forgot. This is a crazy story. Basically, what if you were literally inside the belly of the beast during a kaiju attack? This is about a girl who is trying to save the one thing she has left from her father when a kaiju attack has caused a flood and destruction on her city. And in the process of doing that, she and a busload of people get swallowed by the kaiju, and now they have been stuck inside of this giant beast trying to figure out exactly how they're going to get out of it. And they meet a mysterious stranger who has some very interesting ways of survival. They're not necessarily working for them, and so they figure out that they find a radio as well, and they figure out that the government is going to take down the entire city, and if they can't get the kaiju out, and so they're like, we have to do our part to destroy this kaiju from the inside out before everybody in the community is destroyed. And so we get to see exactly that, and it's just a giant action movie inside of the belly of Godzilla, essentially, and it's a fantastic story. So if you want to just have a lot of fun, this is definitely the 4-part series for you. We've got Pastime issue 2 from Mad Cave. I am so excited about this book. It makes me happy that it exists, because it is vampires and baseball, which are two things that definitely go incredibly well together, and I'm glad to see it. But it also, it takes place in the time of the segregated leagues, and so it's very interesting too, because it's also giving us a really good in-depth history of what those baseball leagues look like and how people were treated in the 1970s and the 1920s who wanted to play baseball. And so this specifically follows one man who is on a baseball team, and they are in need of help. They need some more players, and they are waiting for the right thing to come along. Meanwhile, we also kind of see the story of a man who becomes a vampire, and the dangers and everything that is happening in his life that leads him to that, and how these two paths, in fact, do cross. Is very interesting, because it's a matter of, is this something that is happening by chance, or is this vampire actually orchestrating all of this, and what is his reason for wanting to be a part of this specific league of baseball players, and getting into it. Where is this going to go? And somebody brought up the fact the other day that because of the time frame, this could lead to like a Shoeless Joe Jackson appearance in this world, and that is my favorite baseball player. So if there's even like a little tiny hint that Shoeless Joe could be a vampire living forever playing baseball, I would be so excited to hear that. But not everybody in this is a vampire. It seems as though we only kind of have one, and that is in the baseball world, but there is, again, something secretive about him, and there's something dangerous about the lurking that he's doing. Anyway, if you're a fan of baseball, if you're a fan of vampires, not in the horror sense, there has been no horror to this book so far. It's really actually just kind of been about baseball. So it's been really good. You've got to check it out. It's fantastically made. Golden Rage, issue 2 of volume 2 from Image Comics. I definitely think it's important to note that, because this book does pick up exactly where volume 1 left off. And so you're gonna want to read volume 1, which is basically a story about a little bit further in our future. The government decides that women, as they get older and can no longer have kids, don't matter. And so they start essentially shipping them all off to abandoned islands. And this is one such island of people, and on it are 4 women who are essentially the Golden Girls, who are trying to just keep it together. And as this new volume has, the weird thing about the first volume was that a young girl who couldn't have kids was sent to live there. And in this volume, something else strange happens, because another mysterious boat arrives, and this time it actually has a baby on it. And they are trying to figure out how exactly they are going to raise this baby, and what exactly this baby showing up unattended on a boat actually means. And is there something else that's going to come, and where is this going to lead them? We don't know, and our crazy Golden Girls are struggling to keep it together, and to keep themselves friends, and everything is going crazy. nobody trusts anybody with this baby involved, and it's just complicating everything. But one of my favorite things is that every issue has a ridiculously great Golden Girls quote on the back that goes with it, and this one is, "It's not easy being a mother. If it were easy, fathers would do it." And I just love that they quote the Golden Girls every issue. It always makes me happy. Black Ritual, the Book of Nyx, issue 2. This is from Image in your Spawn universe. We're starting to see a lot of the Spawn characters get their own titles and just kind of explore what their world looks like without Spawn in it. Very much similar to what the Hellboy universe kind of does. And this story is about Nyx, who is a witch who... back in the days of the Spawn books was actually kind of targeted and kicked out of New York City, where she made her home, and she is now being forced to come back because something is calling to her, and she's not really sure what it is, and so she goes back to the old coven that she used to be a part of, and she finds out that they are not the ones who called her, and so she doesn't know, and neither do they, what led her there. But now that she's there, they let her know that something mysterious is happening to a bunch of witches. There's been some murders and some disappearances, and the only person that they think can find out what it is Nyx, because she's powerful enough, but she's also disconnected enough that maybe she can do the investigation without risking her life. And honestly, they don't care if she dies, so they're really in favor of her doing it. So Nyx has to make the choice to start doing what she can to investigate this, and we are going to see if she can figure out exactly what dangers are lying in the city. Money Shot, issue 1 from Vault. This is the newest volume of it. It is not a redoing of Money Shot, but it almost feels like a requel in that you can jump into it if you've never read it before, because they do a lot of explaining of what is going on. But if you don't know, Money Shot is a book about a bunch of scientists who were tired of the government and the colleges and everybody taking their funding away from them, so they decided to become adult film stars by traveling to different planets and exploring how crazy they could get with adult films in those different places. And while they raised money doing that, they used it to fund all of their research to actually better the world. Well, over the years since then, a cult has formed of people who are very much against lewd adult content, and so they are coming after these scientists specifically. And so now our scientists have figured out a way to basically send a message back to past them to say, hey, you guys got to figure this out, because otherwise you're all going to die. And that's where we are in this issue, is us trying to figure out exactly where this message came from, how are we going to stop these bad things, and can we do it before the cult of purity essentially actually ever gets started. Like I said, great requel, because you are going to go jump back in time, which, if you don't know that term, it's from the Scream universe, really, which means it's like a reboot and a sequel put together. And that is definitely where that Money Shot lies. That worked as a sentence in so many ways. The Toxic Avenger pinup special from Ahoy Comics. This is really cool, because usually when we get these like pinup specials and cover specials, they don't actually include a story. But because it's Matt Bors and it's Ahoy, we actually do get a new short story from Toxie at the beginning. Which is, of course, just ridiculous. It is Toxie trying to save a home from some toxic rats that, is part of his new service that he wants to do. And so he wants to find new ways to help the community. And, it's always hilarity. And it's always the most ridiculous, absurd hijinks when it comes to Toxie. Beyond that, you do also get a bunch of really cool Toxie pinup covers. We love this one. That is, an homage to the Marvel Universe, cool books. And so, and with the same artist that Marvel is using for all of their wraparound covers right now, which is really cool, which is Chris, I can never say Chris's last name, Giarusso. So it's super cool. There's some more really fun ones. It's great if you're a Toxie fan to just get this new little story that's fun, but also to get some fun art experience with Toxie. And then, because it is Ahoy, there is also a prose story in the back that you can always enjoy that's not necessarily connected to the story that you got, but does just give you some kind of fun parody satire kind of situation. This does lead us into the Toxie crossovers that we're going to see happen. That is going to launch with Toxie teaming up with Jesus from Second Coming. You are not going to want to miss that book. Oh my gosh, I am so excited. It is going to be so great. Two of my favorite Ahoy series coming together. And the fact that like a Matt Bohr's story and a Mark Russell story are going to come together as one is everything I always needed in my life. Like, I'm like, I'm like, it's going to be incredible. Whatever, it doesn't even matter what happens in the book. Nope. It's going to be so good. I'm going to die of happiness. This thing happened this week. I don't know if any of y'all know about it, but this book called Invincible came out. No, Invincible Universe, the Battle Beast issue 1 launched this week. You all know that because you all came out looking for blind bags for it. There are no more. I know stores that had like 200 of them that are out. I know stores that bought 1,000 that are out. It has been insane, but there are still copies of Cover A, and I'm going to tell you that you want to read it. If you are an Invincible fan, especially because this is going to cover Battle Beast, who is one of the Invincible villains from the book series. He appeared in issue 16. What was it? I know it was given, one of the things that was given away for free. Or one of the ones that was in the blind bags. It's either 16 or 19. Don't quote me. I'm terrible at remembering first appearances. But he has also made his appearance at the end of in this newest season, and I know he's going to be coming back for more fun, allegedly in the next season of Invincible. But this is all about Battle Beast, who is basically literally that. He is a beast who wants nothing more than to just fight somebody. Because of that, because he's like this ultimate warrior, he is looking for the ability to find somebody that can defeat him in battle. He's never lost. Everything is not a challenge to him. It's just unfun at this point. But all he can do and all that he has in life is fighting, and so he's determined to do that. Meanwhile, the ship, what is it called? Like the navigation system of the ship is like, I'm going to help you find the person who will kill you because you killed the people that I love. And so now I'm coming to to help you. And so he's navigating him to different places throughout the universe that will hopefully lead him to somebody who will kill him. But so far in this issue, we see, just some great battles and some great fights. And whether or not he's going to find the actual battle that will destroy him is something that we're going to see in this little mini-series. And I believe there's going to be a couple of other Invincible mini-series coming your way. So for fans of Invincible, it's so hard to get your hands on single issues. It's even getting hard to get your hands on those collected editions of Invincible and those compendiums. But you do have something new and exciting in your Invincible universe to help you to tide the time over between seasons, for sure. Hot Valley Days and Cocaine Nights Part 1 from King Spot. This is based on a true story. So when I first saw this, I was like, oh, I don't know if this is going to be like a book that we need to have. And then I read the synopsis, and it was based on this crazy true story about like this woman who was like a cocaine kingpin, essentially. And the struggle that she went through, and then like the death and murder of all things connected to that. And I was fascinated with just the story. So I wanted to figure out what exactly that was. And so in this story, we are following Janie, who had a very rough childhood. Her parents are party people who just kind of don't pay attention to their 4 kids, and they live with her grandfather, who is just very abusive to the 2 younger girls. And Janie is trying so hard to figure out a way out, and she ends up causing some damage, which makes her have to run away from home. And she is in the process of doing that. She has to figure out like where she's going to go and who she's going to become. And it kind of leads her down this path of heading to LA and just becoming like a big giant kingpin of the community. And we are bouncing back and forth in this series between the dangers of her teenage years and like her trying to be protective of her siblings, and the days leading up to her like disappearance and death. And it's really cool the way they do it, because we do see that she has certain things that she absolutely cannot stand, which is to see people get hurt, especially women who are being abused by men. And so every time she tries to protect other women, it's kind of when she leaves herself open and dangerous in the world that she's in. And I really can't wait to see what happens. I really want to look up the true story, but I want to read the whole book first and then see what happens. But I believe it's only a 3-part series. And so I definitely I'm like, I can wait, I can hold out and do it, but I can't wait to actually see the true crime connection. But if you're a true crime fan, this is a book for you. And I think a lot of true crime people don't realize how many comic books there are for them. This is definitely going to be one that you're going to want to put in your collection and grab it. Dark Regards, issue 1 from Oni Press. When this was pitched, it was really funny because they kept talking about like how over the top, like extremely ridiculous this book was going to be, like to the point where they were like, oh, we want to make a blood variant in the same way like the Kiss comic had like blood in it. And I was like, that is so over the top. And then I read the book and I'm like, now I get why, because this is exactly that. It is so over the top. It is about a guy who wants to be a stand-up comedian and has like the perfect girlfriend according to him, and is so excited about it all, only to lose her to another comedian who's not funny but is stereotypical good looking, and he needs something to help get him through. And so he goes to a record store where a very, very mean record store employee judges him for all of the things that he asks for, and he ends up getting a death metal record. And in the process of it, essentially the lead singer who died comes to him and tells him that he is now the god of death metal music, the lord of dark metal, and he must tell all of the other dark metal musicians in the world that they are nothing but pansies compared to him, and he must attack them all and prove that he is the best. So he does it by sending them all emails, which is absolutely hilarious, because he like sends them to the record label, like, and CCs all of the bands on there, and then they're like, we have to defend our honor. And so then they start emailing back, but they're like, but we are emailing hardcore because we are death metal, like we are cool. We don't email like normal people. We email like death metal people. And so it's absurd in every single way, but now they are coming for him. It is hilarious. It is like, there are times where I'm like, oh my god, I know this person and I can't stand listening to them talk in this book any more than I could like if they were judging you in real life for the way that you don't like their music or whatever. But you also are like, but it's such parody. It's like satire of literally the music industry. It's satire of the way fandoms get too obsessive and rude. It is so good. There's so many jokes in it that even if you aren't a death metal person, like you'll get, but if you are, you'll love it even more. And this was a Santiago fave this week for sure. And if you come by the store next Saturday and Sunday, he will definitely tell you all of the reasons why, because he loves it so much. The Cold Witch, #1 from Image. This is part of the Shrouded College world, which is Charles Soule's universe that he's been playing in for the last couple of years, about essentially an entity, they call themselves a college, of knowledge that basically, if you try to go there, they own you and you have to pay a soul debt forever. And no matter what you do, you're never clear, because you can never pay off college. And over the course of time, different things have happened. And in the last book, these two people relied on help from another member of the Shrouded College who had gotten out and was living his best life, to help them clear their debt. And in the process, he passed away, defending them. And so his widow has now come. She is not a member of the Shrouded College. There is something mysterious about her, though, and she has come and she's like, I'm going to find the one thing that I know the Shrouded College cannot overcome and take them down with it, and that is the Cold Witch, which my husband, my partner, he was the one who collected it, and I'm going to find this Cold Witch and free her so that she can take the Shrouded College down. And so we are in the process of this issue learning where that Cold Witch may be and how we can find her, and also getting little hints of who this woman is, because there is something, again, very dark and mischievous about her, and I can't wait to see what it is. It's going to be a big adventure. Betty and Veronica, friends forever. This is our Spy Girls one-shot. I love we always have fun new adventures coming from the world of Archie and all of the gang. This one follows Betty and Veronica in a couple different stories. The first one is Medusa gone wild, and there is a mad Dr. Doom who is running rampant in the town, and the girls capture him, and he's like, oh, thank God, because my daughter is a crazy person and I'm so glad to be away from her. Y'all deal with her, not me. And so the girls have to go around and figure out who his daughter is and why she's causing so much doom and gloom in the town of Riverdale. And so we just get to see all the hijinks that come from somebody like that running amok. And then we have a second story, which is all about the girls. We get to see like them doing their spy stuff. We get to see Dilton making it. We find out that Hiram Lodge knows all about it and is kind of like the funder of all of the work that the girls do. And they have a special case come up because suddenly the tracker that they have on Archie goes off the rails, and they're like, what happened? Who has kidnapped Archie? Where did he go? And once they get past their jealousy, they're able to actually do a good investigation to find Archie. And then there is a two-part story from the past about Betty being the girl from Riverdale and just being the spy who has to save the day in that classic like a man from U.N.C.L.E. kind of style. So always fun. I love when you get the backup stories that are the old ones, because you never get to see them like anywhere anymore, so it's fun. Godzilla Here There Be Aliens issue 1 from IDW. So this is the unofficial official third book in the series of the Godzilla Here There Be world. We had Godzilla Here There Be Dragons, and then we had the Godzilla Here There Be Dragons Part 2, essentially. And this is kind of the sequel, the third part of that series. In the first one, we learned that the Queen of England had basically been involved in a cover-up of the fact that kaiju had existed forever. And we learned little bits and pieces of the fact that there was a secret society of that, and it was during like the time of the East India Trading Company, and then in the second one we learned that secret society was real and that the government was involved with it, and that basically every like big thing that's ever happened in the history of time was a kaiju attack. Now we've made it to 1954, and we have a man here in America that has been trying to convince the American government that he needs to be given money to come up with a plan to like study kaiju and be prepared for an attack on them. And they're like, you have no proof. There's no real photos of this Godzilla. There's no anything. But it's the 1950s, and Godzilla attacks Japan. And so he's like, hey, guess what? I was right. But also, there's a giant Godzilla attacking Japan. What are we going to do about it? And the government calls him, and they're like, oh my God, you were right. We want you to come in. But before he can do that, some other mysterious things come into light, and we are going to learn that if Godzilla can exist, other kaiju could exist, and they wouldn't all be from Earth. And where are they from, and who are all of the mysterious people behind it? And these books are just so good. They're just great ways to tell the Godzilla stories while also just building a whole new lore of universe, and you should absolutely read them. Space Ghost Johnny Quest mashup of Space Quest actually came out last week, but I told you there was a couple books from last week I didn't get to that I was going to bring this week. So this is one of them. This is number 1 from Dynamite. A lot of people have been waiting on this one for a long time because both Space Ghost and Johnny Quest have been popular series the last year and a half or so. But basically, in the Johnny Quest series that we just had, Johnny Quest and his family ventured into the future to try to solve a problem that they had to team up with future Johnny to solve. They are now back in the 60s, and they have been called by the government because they have found a mysterious spaceship from the future, from another planet. They don't really know, and they have pulled some stuff out of it, and they think that only Mr. Quest can solve that mystery of what it is, and so they want him to activate it. He doesn't want to do that because he's worried that he will open up the world to some very dangerous things, because who knows what lies on the other side of that ship. So of course Johnny always with the not paying attention and thinking he knows better, goes to open up that mysterious thing and figure out if there's some way that he can protect his dad and everything going on. And of course, can of worms opens. That leads us to connecting with the Space Ghost universe, and just how that happens and what that means, you'll have to read to find out. The Graveyard Club, Fresh Blood from Boom Studios and R.L. Stine. This is kind of like, really, you have to read the other Graveyard Club. I feel like calling it a number one makes you think that you don't. And I guess technically you could just jump in right here. But there was a previous Graveyard Club about 6 months ago. And that kind of laid out the essence of this town where a bunch of teenagers live. And they're kind of always picked on by the town sheriff. The son of the sheriff is the biggest bully in school. And the sheriff seems like he's completely like inept. And a bunch of these teenagers, their parents went missing. And so they've created their own graveyard club, because it's like, oh, we're all the kids whose parents died or disappeared, and we're stuck in this stupid town. And so they're just trying to pull pranks and keep themselves together. But it's been 5 years since 2 of the parents went missing, and they both went missing from a poker game at the same place. And so the kids decide, 2 of the teens decide they're going to go to this place and just have a moment and investigate on their own, and just kind of feel like they have like a connection to their dads for a second. But in the process of doing that, they uncover a very dangerous secret about the town and what actually lies beneath it. And, in a true R.L. Stine, Fear Street kind of like situation, now there are, rumors and possibilities and sightings of monsters and just different things like that. And only the gang of kids that works together can figure out exactly what is happening and save the day. And so, like I said, the other story kind of does stand alone, and this also kind of stands alone, but a lot of the details and like the character growth happens between the 2 of them. So I would recommend reading both of them together, but if you just want to try this one, you probably could. Before I talk about picks of the week, I'm going to take another drink of this wine and see how it is. Holy cow, that was a lot. There's so much flavor in there. Wow. That is the spicy wine. In like the best way.
So good.
It's so good.
I love French wine.
I know. And I'm like, French and Malbec mixed together is apparently like the great secret to wine. Holy cow. Good. Get yourself a bottle of Cahors, and enjoy. All right, we're going to do this way. All right, so we're at Picks of the Week. I've got 3 for you, as always. We're going to start with Exquisite Corpses #1 from Image Comics and the Tiny Onion publication group, which is James Tynion, if you didn't know. And, this is actually a powerhouse team, because you've got James Tynion on writing with Michael Walsh on art and Jordi Belair on color. So it's really, and it's such a big universe. For fans of James Tynion and the world building he did on Something That's Killing the Children, this is definitely going to be another one of those where you jump into a big story like that. And you don't even realize how big the story is going to get. But basically, in this world, there are 13 families who run America, who have run America since the original 13 colonies. Each one of the families represents one of the colonies. And basically, they come together and they host a fight to the death to see who gets to rule the country for the next set of time. And so the one who is currently in charge, their job is to set up the town that it's going to be in and find a place that they can seclude off and completely just if the people all die there, nobody will really care. Nobody cares what's going on. They can trap them in there, lock it down, and just take it completely off the grid. And then each one of the other 12 families has to find a champion, essentially, that represents a certain weapon that they are given on a card, and then they all come together and they watch this go down. And over the years, some of them have decided like, oh, I don't necessarily want to be in power. So they set up side bets to just win a bunch of money by betting against themselves and giving and seeing how many people their people can kill in the town before they can actually, like, instead of actually going after the prize of running the country. But we are actually, because it's James Tynion, not only do we get to see the people group of the 13 families that are in charge of this, but because he has to give us that heart, we actually start out in the town and we actually learn about all of the people. So we see the sheriff and like him getting paid off to leave the town so that they can do whatever they want in it. And we see, you know, the guy that runs the gas station, who's also like the big drug dealer in town. And we see this couple of teenage boys and how they like connect with each other, and the neighbor who's kind of falling apart and needs somebody to help watch her kid. And it's all on Halloween night. And so it's great because we're actually getting one of those stories that actually takes place on Halloween, that's going to have like the slasher elements to it. And again, the universe is so big so fast. It kind of feels like he spent a lot of time really planning out like what each of these families was going to be like, who each of the people within it would be, what kind of person that they would want to represent them. And yet all of the characters in the town are already like very fully developed, like character growth in this issue. And like you could make character cards for every single person in this issue by the end of it and feel like you could go out and tell your own strong stories with these characters because there's so much about them. Like, you know, who cares about Halloween and who thinks Halloween isn't the real day anymore, you know, like who's got what kind of jobs and what they're like, how they respond, what their connections to each other are. Really, really well thought out story, double like oversized issue. So you're getting a lot of story in this first one, and it's gonna be big. It's gonna have a lot to it, and I think that if you are a fan of, you know, what James did in The Deviant and you're a fan of Something is Killing the Children, this is going to be kind of like James putting those two worlds together and building something really big out of it. I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer, issue 2 from Image. Look, I'm going to probably put every issue of this book in Picks of the Week because I did with vinyl and I did with like a plastic, like I do with, I just love Doug Wagner and team when they make these incredible serial killer books and find this weird emotional center in them, and this is no exception. But I actually also just love it because it has to do with fashion school, and I always thought that that was a cool thing that I wish I could do someday. And so this is all about a girl who really, really wants to be a fashion designer, but she also just happens to be a serial killer, and she can't stop herself. She gets like itchy. She starts to like have these like panic attacks essentially if she doesn't bathe in the blood of victims. And so she's got to kind of balance the two. And so she's always been a loner, never had friends, but now she's in this fashion school and she's actually made friends and she really likes them. And she wants to just have this great normal relationship with them, and she wants to do well in school. But she's still got to kill people. And I love the choices she makes. She makes really great choices to be a good friend and to also do the best thing that she could possibly do to satiate her serial killerness. As with all of the characters in the Doug Wagner books, you're getting more of like a Dexter serial killer than just like a psychopathic serial killer. But there's also, because this one is about fashion, there is an element of where does the mysterious material she gets for her clothes come from? And you always piece it together, but we're of course waiting to see if anybody else does. It's so good. So much heart, such good characters, such a great story. If you haven't read any of the Doug Wagner serial killer books like this, just jump in on this one. It's such a good one. They're not connected in any way, shape, or form. It's just what he tells stories on. And then lastly, we've got Lookout. This also came out last week, and I told you last week that this would probably be right here where it is today, and it is. This is a great way to play with the medium. I love when people take the opportunity to do something different. And so this is essentially an illustrated novella in an oversized prestige perfect bound format. And so this is the story of a man who gets a divorce and loses everything and is like, I have to find a job. The only job that he gets a response to is from one of those like park ranger situations where you just go and start living in like the tower to make sure that nobody is camping in places they're not supposed to camp and starting fires. And so you're just the lookout guy who protects the fire. Or the forest from fires. Well, when he gets his notebook of information, he finds a piece of paper falls out of it, and it has a random list of 10 rules about what to do if you see the weeping lady. And he is like, oh, this is like a prank that they're pulling on the new guy. Haha, whatever. I'm not going to fall for this. And the first night he starts to hear some mysterious sounds and see some mysterious things. And it just gets more and more intense as the story goes on. And the idea of doing it in this way, where it is illustrated with this comic style art in the middle of the prose, works absolutely so well for helping to build the tension. It constantly, you're like, okay, I think I figured it out, and then it'll turn a little bit. There's just, what is the mysterious crying in the woods? What is the mysterious scratching at the door? What is the faces that you're seeing? All of those things, and just what exactly is the fear that you have. I'm not going to tell you anything else because I am not going to ruin anything in this book, but I promise you, you should definitely check it out because really great story. And this is going to be an anthology that is called The Future of Fear that AWA is going to be doing with Vertigo Entertainment, not the comic publisher, but the movie people who did like Late Night with the Devil. So you are going to want to grab these as these different anthology pieces come out. Hopefully they're all that good, because if they are, we will be seeing some big conversations around them. Other books that came out this week that are in stock, we've got Usagi Jumbo 10,000 Plums Part 3 of 5, Thunderbolts Doomstrike Issue 4. If you are a fan of the Thunderbolts movie, this is going to have some of those characters you love in it, but also connect to that one world under Doom. Gwenpool's back, and this time might actually be Gwen Stacy. Dun, dun, dun. We're going to figure that out. Absolute Batman Issue 8, continuing that Mr. Freeze story. Batman Dark Patterns Issue 6. We've got Aquaman Issue 5. Yes, 5. Out this week. One World Under Doom Issue 4. Daredevil issue 21. I really love this Bjorn Barron's variant for DC versus vampires with a vampiric big Barda on it. Oh my gosh, I love it. Hellgreen issue 6. Green Lantern Corps issue 4. Red Hulk issue 4, also part of that One World Under Doom, which is really convenient if you notice that both the Red Hulk story and the Thunderbolt story are the only ones that continuously continue to be a part of the One World Under Doom as we're leading up to the Fantastic Four in the Marvel Universe, cinematic universe. And we've had the Red Hulk movie and the Thunderbolts movie, and then next is Fantastic Four. What are you trying to tell us, Marvel? I bet you can find some secrets in these books. Spectacular Spider-Man issue 15, Miles Morales issue 33, Wolverine number 9, Phoenix number 11, Uncanny X-Men number 14, X-Factor number 10, Ultimate X-Men number 15, and we have the return of Supergirl, with Supergirl issue 1, written by Sophie Campbell. All my Ninja Turtles fans, Sophie Campbell is back with another heartfelt, hilarious story. You're not going to miss it, and it's on Supergirl, and I'm so excited. We've got a couple of trade paperbacks and graphic novels you're going to want to grab. The Adventures of Spawn. This is the first time this has been in print. It's Adventures of Spawn issues 1 and 2. Some never before seen sketches, some interviews, and the mini story that was done at that same time. Night of the Slashers is out from Magma Comics. This is a great story about a bunch of teenagers stuck in a town where everybody becomes a monster at night and slashes up people. Day of the Dead Girl, also from Magma Comics. Whole story. This is all about a woman who returns home. She is working as a coroner. Her mom is a local bruja, and a bunch of witches start getting killed, and she is going to have to help figure out what is going on. Beautiful story. Love it. The coloring, oh my gosh, so good. Woo. Batman Full Moon. This is the hardcover of the whole thing, which is also a glow-in-the-dark cover. And this is Batman and, falls prey to the curse of a werewolf. Werewolf Batman with glow-in-the-dark covers. Yeah, it's just
comic books.
Comic books. Transformers Volume 3 is out, so if you need to catch up on your Transformers, this is issues 13 to 18, which will put you 2 issues behind what we are at as of today. It also has a story from the Inner John 2024 special. The 2025 special just came out this week or during Free Comic Book Day. This is also the comic shop exclusive cover for this, and also like one of our last ones already. It is the last one. We had like 7 copies and now we're down to 1. So let us know if you need us to get more. Vicious Circle is out finally in hardcover. This is all 3 issues of that oversized book that Lee Bermejo and Mattson Tomlin did, which he is the writer of the Batman Part 2 coming soon. But this is such a great book about 2 people who are trapped in an endless cycle of attempting to kill each other that takes them through the past, present, and the future, and is really, really cool. And then lastly, we've got this awesome book that came out this week that is trans history from ancient times to the present day, all about the trans community and things that they've gone through over the years, and the fact that trans people have always existed as long as humanity has existed, and this is a great book that will talk about gender nonconformity and the all of the things that you may need to know about the history of that. Definitely check this out. I'm really excited about this book. It's really great, and it's done in like the history comic style, so it's really cool. You absolutely need to read it. And speaking of things you need to read, if you didn't know, because I didn't say it at the beginning of the thing, the Eisner Awards, the nominations for the best books of last year, 2024, have been announced. There are some great selections on there. I'm so excited. We'll see this summer, July, the end of July, who wins all of those. But if you're one of those people who likes to watch all of the Oscar nominees or maybe read all of the Eisner nominees, let us know, because we want to make sure we have those books in stock for you, as we have so many of them already, but we would definitely love to get one, so if you're looking to grab a specific one. I can't wait. So many of my favorites are on there, and congratulations to all of the nominees. We'll be doing our show where we talk about those coming up in the future soon, so you can learn more about all of those nominees. But until then, remember, Matt and I will not be here this week, but your comics will be. So come see Adrian and Santiago this week at the shop, as they are here to make sure you get your new comics. Adrian will be teaching that figure drawing class for teens and kids on Saturday at 3:30. That is the only programming happening this week. Remember, lots of great books are still going to be here waiting for you this week, so stop by, pick them up, and happy reading, everyone. Till we see you again. Bye.